G'day, punters. Welcome to Victims of the Punt, powered by readybet.com.au, an Australian-owned and operated bookmaker. A bloke on this show actually owns and runs it. Download the app today, please, and always, please, gamble responsibly. Very important, Mark, isn't it, that we gamble responsibly and say gamble responsibly all the time to avoid any type of trouble.
It's yes, and it's a very good message as well, one that we wholeheartedly endorse.
And obviously, this show is on the Mailbag platform, which I would think is almost half responsible if you're going to bet in Sydney on Saturday to head to the mailbag.com.au and purchase Rob Scurry's Mounting Yard Mail, delivered via the Mailbag app. Rob, Scuzz Dog, how airborne are you, and how good do you feel about yourself day to day at the moment?
You keep saying I'm airborne. Like maybe October, I'm down a little bit, but I was pretty proud of myself to dig out of a hole. Like I was on Warwick Farm on Wednesday. Went 5.5 units lost at Randwick, and then we're about 6 units down, and we've managed to win 3 on the day. So I feel like I've turned the corner, and we're gonna get it all back and win again in October. And no reason why Everest Day can't be the day to do that.
Each and every Mailbag production is powered by puntingform.com.au. It's a database I use. Everyone on the Mailbag uses. It's why we win. If you haven't, give it a go. Now's the best time to use it. You can make notes. You can use form. You can get data on tracks, which I think we're going to run a slide soon. Are we, boys? For the Randwick track. Now, where is the rail this week, Mark?
It's back in the true. It's the big day. It's Everest Day. We were out 8th last week. It has been shifting around.
So if we could run the punting form meeting page, but also overlay with Mark's brain power and experience, and then overlay that with Scurry's. What, like me from a partial Sydney, pricer now, I'm concerned about the last Saturday abandoned 8-metre rail, bottomless. Now we're only got 8 metres of good track. That's why I'm reading it. Thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, you're thinking about it logically, which is a dangerous first step whenever you're approaching tracks in Sydney. So I'll just go on the evidence of what we've seen. I don't go into the why. I don't walk the tracks. I don't know. I just keep records on what's happened. And when it goes back to the true, the last meeting in the true was the 17th of October. We saw horses like Brigantine, Mahogany went from near last. Come swooping right down the middle. That was on. We saw horses lead that day, like Kiss the Bride as well. It was fair-ish, and backmarkers certainly got their chance. Now, look, I expect this track to be wetter. Will be wetter than that one, which, to be honest, probably makes it even harder to lead. The wetter it is, the harder it would be to lead, I would suggest. But look, I'm going. Unlike last week, when Mark Lambourne was on, and you might recall, he absolutely nailed it. He got it 110% right. Look, with the rail going back to the true, it won't be like that. It will not be up the inside. It will be, I think, fair. I'm assuming fairish until we see otherwise. Rob, would you agree with that? And also, before that, Rob, what's the weather doing?
It's raining now. It's going to rain this morning. Probably going to get, I'd say, 3 to 5 mil by the look of it. So I think it'll be on the worst. It's a nice day tomorrow. I'd say it'd be on the worst side of heavy 8.
Yeah.
So be looking for horses with heavy form.
So just to clarify, what are you predicting, Mark?
I'm predicting fair-ish. Leaders will get tempo related maybe, and it's especially by the last races. I wouldn't be surprised to see them getting home down the middle. If we've got that meeting, go back to the meeting data slide. Lanes 5 to 7 on true rails across all track conditions are traditionally the best. Lane 1 is no good, 0.78 A to E, which is pretty bad, considering that lane 1 is the cherry spot at most tracks in rail position.
Yeah.
And so is lanes 3 to 4 tricky, but lanes 8 to 11 poisonous, cancer.
Yeah.
And
Mark, are you expecting running? You don't want to be on the fence. You want to be peeling. Maybe the 3 wide line or the off the rail. You don't want to be on rails and run.
Yeah, I think they might just steer away from it if that's the case. That meeting on the 17th of September, inside gates were okay, but you had to be able to get offense. Oh, you remember the horse you backed, Top Rank? It sort of came through inside, but
The
it
world's
wasn't
best horse.
World's best horse. He was. He came up the inside, but he wasn't scraping the rail. He was probably tracking 2 off and sort of poked through, and then he ended up 3-4 off when he got through to win.
Yeah, blessed that day. Top Rank was put to the sword by old R King again.
Yes, the Australia's best judge of pace. But anyway. Yeah.
Hey, come on.
Well, after all that, I'm saying I'm going in with no preconceptions. We're going to see what happens. How's that for a lead?
Yeah.
So 5 minutes of back to we don't know.
Any is this hot jockeys?
Yeah,
hot
we've got
jockeys.
a high-profile visitor, Dicko. You pulled me up for missing B Mellon last week. Well, I'm not going to see Frosty Lane this week. Monster, last 100 stats, and Monster, Randwick all-time stats. Who's your man?
So do you...
mind you, if you can get Warning home in the St. Ledger, they should probably put up a statue of him.
Do you like do you pay that much attention to that sort of stuff? So like if you're pricing a horse and you give it 2 extra points sort of thing because D-Lane's on?
D-Lane's on at Randwick? No. Well, not. It depends. Hark back to what Mr. Lambourne said last week. I'm more a jockeys for horses and jockeys for situations type bonuser, put it that way. I'm not going to just, I mean, I'm not a algorithm, I'm not a model, I'm not going to give a horse a kick that otherwise has no chance or maps badly just because D-Lane's on and it's a Randwick.
Readybet.com.au, Australian owned operated bookmaker. What are we doing this weekend, great man?
Racing and sport, well, racing promos at least 7 days a week. Friday's always a big day for us. Head to the website and log in to check out what they are. We do have a little Everest Caulfield Cup special on tomorrow, which we can't really talk about here. But if you
head to readybet.com.au, you'll find out all about it.
Once you log in, you will, yes.
And then you'll gamble responsibly. Always gamble responsibly. We've done the jockey data. We've done the meeting data. Shall we kick in? We're going to preview, guys, races 3, the Craven Plate. Race 4. Now, the St. Ledger. Now, I don't know if they've stolen this or the Victorians have stolen this. Because there's a St. Ledger we talked about that Algaron came through. Or Allegron. And we're going to touch on race 8, the Silver Eagle. Last week's race, we're going to do it twice because we didn't get through it last weekend, and we'll recap the boys' sort of thoughts of the Everest. Should we kick off in the Craven Plate, where we're going to look at the Cascadian replay after this market, where I cannot read these odds because I've had a meltdown technically in the shed.
I can read them.
Thank you.
Oh, I say that, and and then they won't load for me either. No, I have it here. Prices averted. Number 1, Cascadian, ruling favourite at $1.62. Just Folk, we're 11. 3 Surf Dancer, $4.80. It's actually, the only other one in the market is Primito. We're best odds at $13. It's around $11 elsewhere. I don't like Adkins as a jockey booking. So we're $13 it, but this does appear to be all about Cascadian.
Let's look at the replay for Cascadian. This is a bit of a Caulfield Cup reference too. Montefilia comes out of this, heads to the Caulfield Cup, and is that also Numerian, Mark?
Yeah, Cascadian wasn't favoured in this, which, having a look at the replay and given the way it won, may appear as a surprise, but it was Montefilia was expected to win this. Was she a run short or something? Because she was pretty disappointing on face value.
No, she looked pretty good. Cascadian was the best I've ever seen it. Numerian always presents well. Sharpish sort of stayer, gets quite a toey type, but I don't know what to make of Montefilia. She looks like a stayer to me. I'm not sure if she's the weight for age. She maybe a bit like that silent. What was the thing Roger James had a few years ago? Maybe it runs better in the autumn than the spring. I got on the wrong side of it. Back to the Caulfield Cup, then the next autumn it wins the BMW and Randwick and everything.
Silent Achiever.
Silent Achiever.
Oh, well done.
Hey, you know how fucking bad you guys are going if I'm coming up with historical names of horses.
Very good. Well done.
We did the Caulfield Cup on last night's show. As far back as I could remember was Jamaica.
2015. I'm better at 80s Caulfield Cup winners than the last three.
Yeah.
Because you're underage, you were sober. So you remember it all.
Yeah. It was the Faulkner Caulfield Cup. Faulkner won it, and I was on the big price solid as Jeeva. Anyway.
Sorry, so where were we here? Why are you taking on? Which horse are you taking on again? And you are best price anywhere. Why are you taking it on?
Well, we're best odds Primido, which isn't really saying much because it's double figure odds. I think it's half in the market at around 10-1 most places because it's got 50 kilos in this weight for age race. And it's like the fresh blood 3-year-old sort of thing, but it's just a horse in my opinion. And A. Adkins has diabolically poor stats. I don't think this horse is going to jump out of the ground with him on it. I think they're overplaying the weight factor here. I think he should be much longer than 10-1, so we're 13. Coming back with us if you think I'm wrong. Also, I'm a little bit over the odds Surf Dancer. Look, Surf Dancer just maps so well here. It's the only possible leader. It's got Nash on. It just completely controls the race. Can see him winning, but there's just a bit of a golfing class between him and Cascadian, I think.
What price do you think Cascadian starts, Mark?
Look, I'm a little bit wary. If this was like a target race, and it's not a target race despite being $750,000, it's a stepping stone to his target at Flemington on the final day. I'd say be $1.40, $1.50. But this is half a prep run, and if he gets beaten, it doesn't matter because the last day at Flemington is grand final day for him.
So as a bookmaker now, what do we do here? Like, are you
let the money come to you, Jack. If you're bookmaking, that's my advice. Don't chase it, but they'll let it find its price.
I'm working on that.
If the market wants to come for Surf Dancer, I'll probably respect that. I'm just seeing if there's anything out there at the moment. Just Folk, if it really rains, it comes into it. It's a wet tracker, I think, and maps pretty nicely here.
What about the Kiwi? He's a shocker.
I thought not good enough because you would have seen it in Melbourne a bit, Jack. Any view on it?
Comes out of the right race. Was some kind of support for it, but I think it's a level below the best, which this race is actually. So I wouldn't sort of take it on. I'll be fence sitting on it. I thought the confusing horse was Zayrek.
Trial done nothing, just 2 prep runs so far. Trialled well. It is. Look, they need Cascadian to have an off day, but that's not impossible. And if he does, Zayrek at his best is good enough, I'd say. Yep.
When I said New Zealander, I meant the other one, Pinarello for Roger James, the Achievers trainer. Any lead here? 102 rating out of New Zealand.
Only what is he, second up? Did you see him first run this time in?
Yeah, I was there. Shannon, Old Flame Surf Dancer. I can't place him a bit early in the morning. And Primido, nice looking horse. I'm not sure if he's much good though. He seems like he lacks a bit of a turn of foot, but he is proven on the wet and with the low weight that'll attract some punters, I think.
Right. Well, so Scurry, is there a horse you're going to try and find in the yard here? You want to find, or you're trying not to find Cascadian because it's too short and it grows young?
Yeah, you know how I feel about this sort of even money, but it does look the winner to me. I've never seen him better. He's a horse that can get woolly, can get sweaty.
Sheik completely like for a bloke who's been airborne his whole life, he's going better than ever.
Born airborne.
Yeah, born airborne now, like out of this atmosphere. Just floating above us. The St. Ledger guys race 4.
You want a bit of St. Ledger history, Jack? About the name of the St. Ledger?
Yeah, it's a 2,600 metre race, and Mark's going to give us some history and then mark it.
The English St. Ledger at Doncaster is one of the English classic races for 3-year-olds. So, as we copied a lot of things from England in the early days of racing, most states had a St. Ledger, and there was one in Sydney, one in Melbourne, one in Brisbane. There was one everywhere, but the big ones were in Melbourne and Sydney. They were 2,800 metres originally. I think the Melbourne one still is.
It is still.
Yeah, and it used to be in the 3-year-olds in the autumn over 2,800 metres after the Derby, but they sacked that quite a few years ago. They tried to make it a 3- and 4-year-old race. That didn't work, and they sacked it completely. Then they just brought it back a few years ago to coincide with Everest Day as just a 2,600 metre race with nothing to do with 3-year-olds. Just revived the name. And for how much money? 500,000. So not much, really.
Chicken scratch.
Yeah.
Should have sent Keats to this race. Did it run top 4?
Ah,
The market, please,
Market,
Mr. Rhoden at readybet.com.au. Download the app today. Gamble responsibly.
Okay, the main chances: 2 Stockman 380, 3 Arapaho 850, 5 Sacramento 750, 6 the favourite for Curamal Racing Cardray de Noir 220. Best of the rest 7 Carif. Hugh Bowman on board $14.
What do we do here?
What do we do?
Is Joe Pride, is Smoke and Joe going to have a big day or what?
Yeah, he could. I actually, if forced, I would rather be on Stockman here than Cardray de Noir.
Readybet.com.au taking on anyone. Download the app. Gamble responsibly.
I think we're too.
I'm looking at a replay here, guys.
Yeah, this is the
lead
Metro.
up.
This is the Metro. Stockman.
Have the Caulfield Cup winner in this. That's decompromised, just like zigging and a zagging. Durston going better than everyone thinks, I reckon, on the heavy track.
After Madame Pomeroy. You know, I thought that could run the heavy track.
The tractor just got through the worst going that no other horse was able to
get
through. Full credit. Full credit.
Big heavy horse. I was on. I had a bit of a spec on Carif, and I was at a good crack at Stockman in that race. Carif ran really well, but he's, the luxury odds are now certainly gone about him. But I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a race. But Stockman suited on the wet. He's been progressing slowly through this campaign. That was the best I seen him last week. I think he can improve again, and this looks like his race to me. Cardray de Noir, obvious danger.
I was half interested last week in Arapaho for the human stopwatch, Rachel King and Bjorn Baker. What do we make of it, Mark?
It likes the wet. Its best is certainly good enough. I actually, I think its better runs have been when they've ridden it a bit more positively. That hasn't been the case the last 2. If it went forward, I could certainly see it running a race. And again, I just can't get my head around 220 Cardray de Noir. I can see on figures why it sort of needs to be that price. Barrier 10, look, it's a 2,600 metre race. He should get in, shouldn't he, Doug? But chance he just has to stuff around a bit early, you make a little bit of use for it or drag it back from 10 to just try and find something. It's not ideal, 10, put it that way. And I think at 220 you want sort of all your ducks in a row. So I can't warm to $2.20. I think Stockman's a great chance on the wet track, drawn for a perfect run. Just never runs a bad race, really, once he gets to his right trip and gets his right conditions. But 380's about right too. Yeah, so maybe something like a Arapaho if I had to bet would get my interest. I'd probably rather $10 than 8, to be honest, out of spec at it. But, you run out of places to go in this race, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a thin race.
Yeah.
It's and I had a little bit on Arapaho in the Newcastle Cup and thought it was a little bit disappointing looming to win and then sort of dropping out. Old fun fact, finally got a bit of fun fact money up in Brisbane last week. I don't think he's suited on a very wet track. I think Stockman's not a bad bet at the price.
Yeah, that's 380 feels a bit short, but once you look at the red, there's about 3 or 4 you can just completely pen.
Yeah, carrots in from 100s into 10s.
Are they King Charles's silks there, Chalk Stream?
King Charles III is the owner of Chalk Stream. That is correct. Yes.
Calm down, Rob. Calm down. Race 8, the Silver Eagle, last week's race, postponed to tomorrow. The market, please, Mark.
Yes, this is...
It's good having just one Mark on the show for once, I tell you.
Yeah. I've been one of 2 for... Well,
2 years.
Exactly. This is a slightly different Silver Eagle to what we saw last week, and it's going to be run under completely different conditions. Anyway, 1 Mr. Mozart 440, 2 Star Tonte 750, 3 Valana 9, 4 Kiss Sum 12, down to number 8 Rob's Horse Lock Eagle 11, 10 Waterford $6, 13 Lavish Girl the leader $14, 14 Espiona 7. Jimmy the Bear Emergency is probably going to run 17, and In the Congo's in the market down the bottom, but it will I'm 99% sure will be running in the Sydney Stakes with J-Mac on in race 6.
And sorry, guys, just to butt in. Big morning here. Computer broke down. Had to get the kids to school. Take care. Mark, how dare you say that there's one big rider coming to Sydney on Saturday? On behalf of the Mailbag Bloodstock, our man, your man, Craig Willow Williams, the greatest human in racing, is also there on Saturday. And we all need to pay our full respects to Craig. He's a phenomenal athlete and a great rider. He rides Maurice's me daddy.
Yes, welcome, Craig. He's no stranger to Sydney. He's won all sorts of big races in Sydney going back many years. I was just dazzled by the red numbers or green numbers, that I was seeing for D Lane in the hunting form data.
Now, full credit to everyone involved. What price here does Mr. Mozart start, in your opinion, Mark? He's been soft early in betting.
Yeah, I don't know. Longer than this, I would suggest. Maps well again. When we went through this race last week with Mark Lambourne, we both agreed that Dicko race was a bit sus. In that race, Mr. Mozart looked like he was going to run about 5th at the 200, hit a real flat spot, was coming to get on the line and only got beaten in a photo in the end. But, yeah, I wanted to look elsewhere. Waterford, I like as a horse. He's drawn the car park again, probably goes back to last. Look, it's a lot of fun to pour shit on Espiona, but with the rail back in true.
Oh, no. Oh, hang on.
Hey, where's $7? We're doing odds. Back it if you like. But it was absolutely no chance with the track pattern last week. It's at 50 to 1 chance, but back on the true rail. And she does seem to have one runner prep in her, She has one big runner prep in her.
That's amazing, given she's trained by Uncle Chris too.
Yeah, it's a winnable race. This is a winnable race. J-Mac on. I know Waterford, they really want to run top 3 to guarantee a Golden Eagle spot. So that's what their aim is there. Balana, which Mark Lambourne like last week when it was going to be run then, looks the map well with Nash on. I expect it to be fairly handy. It's around the $9 mark. It's a bit of a mess, the race. My gut feel is I just really want to be against Mr. Mozart, but I think the market's going to sort of drift out with me, so it's not going to be much value in laying it. You know what I mean?
What do you try and do there? Do you just try and go a stupid price to get the attention and get the money, or do you just sort of drift with the tide a little bit?
You've got to have a price in your head. I mean, there's no point just pushing and pushing and pushing till you lay it, because then you might be just laying it at completely wrong odds at the other extreme. So, yeah.
I agree with you here. I don't like Mr. Mozart at all. Yeah. I love Valana.
Yeah.
Love it. I love the map. I think Nash will be red hot. He might have just won the Everest. It's a beautiful map. There's horses that don't win taking up market percentage here. If it was pissing down, Lavish Girl comes into this race for me, as I spoke about last week, but on the sort of better track, Barrier 9, Nash, 2 good trials, Camps Airborne. I think it's the easiest bet to have at Randwick on Saturday each way, all day. Race 8, number 3, Balana.
Don't argue with that. I think it's just speaks volumes about Sydney racing, and we can talk about a heavy 8 as, a better track rather than the 12s, 13s we top on a lot of Saturdays.
But aren't they predicting like a soft 7?
Yeah, look, it depends on what happens this morning. If they'd missed the rain this morning, I think they could have got to a 7.
They haven't. No, it'll be on the worst side of 8.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Early on, it's going to be a nice day on the day. So
I still think the Valana bets are a responsible way to wager. He's 2 from 3 on heavy tracks.
First up stats. First up. I think Mr.
Two goes first up, 1 win, 1 second. Robertos.
Okay. Well, it does sound that's very good. Stable's hard to,
1 from 1 at Randwick.
Back and blind. I think Mr. Mozart's the best horse in the race. I'm just not sure if he's suited on a heavy track. I was on him when I thought he was slaughtered that day in the Kiku race with Pikey. My Pikey's on Lock Eagle, who won in amazing fashion at Canterbury. Horses don't win like that. Widest on the corner and picking them up. It did. So with a closing jockey like Billy Pike, you know what I mean.
It's called Billy Pike. Bill Pike. Ace Needles.
Look, well, he's proven right.
Loves cash though.
Yeah. Lock Eagle is, might get the right setup here if they're swooping start stage of the day, along with Waterford, they could really be rattling home. Sartontes is rated really highly. If you can forgive it, what it's done this prep, it's probably well enough in.
Yeah.
Don't mind War Eternal down the bottom, another closer. If you forgive its last run, you go on its previous run, it might be map well here.
All right,
it's going to be critical here. I think it's that sort of race where you could make a case for about 10 of them if Rob can give us an lead on what's there today and what isn't.
That's how I love to use the yard. Like I want to back that for Lana, and if he has like 2 units on it or a unit, or I'm just going to. Everest, boys, let's have a quick recap of the Everest. Readybet.com.au. Download the app. Gamble responsibly. Nature Strip, $2. Eduardo, 10. Lost and Running, 8. Mask Crusader, 10. Keeping that safe, Mark. Marzu, 17. Private Eye, 13. Overpass, 51. Ingratiating, 41. Joyful Fortune, 61. Shades of Rose, 41. Jacquinot, 13. And Giga Kick, 23. And I pronounced every one of those names spot on. That's the readybet.com.au market. Mark, what way are you leaning now with the rain around? A little bit more market information. Where are we at?
I haven't moved. We're 13 Jacquinot. I might make that 12. That's just getting a bit on the edge. I think $13 Jacquinot, but I'll once I get off.
Should be
here, I might spin that up.
50s Jacquinot.
50s Jacquinot.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll leave it at 13 then. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Can't win. Right, there's one out the way. Nature Strip. Did you notice Nature Strip got to 230 in places yesterday?
Some places it got to 240 actually, and got hit. So then next time I looked, it was back into $2.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm gonna be quivering.
I know. And when I send the biggest bet of the year on it, and it gets beat, and you prove, oh God, wouldn't that be a thing? I think Nature Strip's going to win comfortably. He's just going so well, and Eduardo's going to run a place. Private Eye can't run on a wet track. Marzu's not good enough. Master's had a sense of timing about it, could run a hole. Same with Lost and Running. And the rest, 0 chance.
Oh, I think we've talked about it a lot now. I think Lost and Running's the map horse. I think Eduardo's like overs. Nature Strip, if the right Nature Strip turns up and it sounds like the track's going to suit it, it's going to be very, very hard to beat. I think Private Eye is unders. And I think Mask Crusader is just, you have to wait and see how the track races. And if it is suiting those sort of late closes, then, he almost won this race last year. They are a proper grand final camp.
I'm
It's adjusting the prices as we go.
I'm not adjusting the price. I'm looking at dynamic, and it just this instant Mask Crusader just lit up red everywhere and shortened another point.
There we go. Market likes Mask Crusader with the rain, maybe. Mark, I don't know.
Yeah, which probably leads into that pattern that runners on might be suited. And look, he got within ahead of Nature Strip last year when Nature Strip looked like he was going to win by a couple of lengths. 100.
Superb looking horse, proper panther. I'm going, it could finish 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Mark and I did a show with Gab, and I think like if Joyful Fortune and Shades of Rose don't lead, then the race is a disgrace. Because as Shane touched on last night, they're kind of like just trying to get as much prize money as they can and not run a proper race.
Yeah.
They have to lead. And if they do lead, they're going to be in the fetal position at the 300.
Yeah, they are. Look,
this is why they won't lead.
There's a sense of timing about Eduardo. I've never seen him with so much condition on him. He's been very relaxed every parade. If he starts nodding his head and firing up, I think he's a really good place bet. He's suited on the wet track. I know 1200 is not his go, but his prep is all about this race. And I can see him, only getting beat by a couple of lengths.
All right. Anything else, boys, before we finish it off?
Old Kementari in the constellation race. I think that looks a good one. There's something else first up in there.
Which race was that? Race
6.
he may be a bit short. Remark's obviously in the market, and this Waihaha Falls is a
why falls. If it
this.
runs, it wins.
It's got some proper figures. One of you guys, it's a proper wet tracker. It's improving every prep. I got a really good lead. You know,
I love this horse. I love the setup. Well, the track sounds like it's going to be perfect. Please, God, get a run.
Yeah.
Bet until it responsibly. Just bet. Gamble responsibly.
Yeah, it does set up well. Great Randwick stats, and I've got a really good line on how that horse parades too. So get the stuff.
All right, guys, that's been Victims of the Punt for Everest weekend at Royal Randwick. Download the readybet.com.au app today. Gamble responsibly. Use puntingform.com.au. Beautiful Headwater filly mailbag bloodstock with Gavin Bedgood. Jesus, doing a phenomenal job, not just with the horses, but also with the updates. And Roberto Scuzz will be airborne. Listen to how excited he is already. He'll be eyes on ponies, 10 races, buy the app. Just before they jump, you get the best information you can possibly get out of the mounting yard to make your betting decisions. Gamble responsibly and have a phenomenal weekend. Bye for now.